This is Channel 13.
Living side by side, dreaming two by two. You are the reason that we do what we do for you. Yeah, for you. We do it for you on WIBW.
Welcome into our WIBW Digital News Center on this another Throwback Thursday, a rainy Throwback Thursday, as we take you inside the WIBW Video Vault, proudly presented by Ace Plumbing, Heating and Air, and Appliance. And we're not talking about rain today in the Video Vault.
It's rainy, but it's warm out there. Warmer. Much
A
more
lot
so.
warmer than it was a year ago this week. We're going to get to that, though. This is actually a pretty big week in local history and some local events that we have had and that we've experienced in our WIBW history. So it's a little bit more modern history, although not everyone was around and remembers what happened in 2012.
Yeah, the newsroom, I'm looking around right here. There's just a couple of guys sitting over there that would have known or remembered this happening.
So those who remember our history, we went on the air in 1953 and our studios were located up the hill. We point that way because that's up the hill from where we currently are, up on Menninger Hill. If you look up there today, Federal Home Loan Bank, FHL Bank, is there, and kind of behind FHL Bank is where our old building used to sit.
Everybody remembers the tower building,
Yes.
the administrative building that sits up there with the clock tower. We were just on the southwest corner of that. So
In
that was
front
the
of it, if
view.
you will, as
yeah,
you're approaching.
we got the view of that every day when we'd look out the back window.
We did, and that's where we were until 2001. So that building housed not just WIBW television, WIBW radio was there, and then there were some ownership changes. We are now owned by, we still have the same call letters, but we have different ownership. And was it earlier in 2021 that in 2001 that they moved out, or was it 2000 that they moved out? But the radio offices moved out before us.
Moved out before us.
They are now on Executive Hill on the other side of I-70 from us. And then in December of 2001 is when we completely moved down here to where we are now on Commerce Place.
Yeah.
But all that time we were up there.
Great facility we have down here. I mean, it was made to be a TV station. Up on the hill, it wasn't made to be a TV station. It had been a school.
It had been a school and kind of an orphanage for the Security Benefit Administration.
Right.
The kids kind of went to school there.
But it was cool.
It was very cool.
It was cool.
It had the big old like marble or granite or whatever they were.
Where they grind it down.
Some kind of rock.
Some
Some kind of rock staircase and with the woodwork everywhere. Some folks have been remembering that behind the front desk there was a beautiful work of stained glass that had come from the original radio studios, which were kind of in like a house or whatever.
Down by the, I believe that was down by the Charles Curtis house.
But that stained glass now is it is over in the Kansas History Museum. It was not destroyed. Some people were thinking that it was destroyed by what happened in 2012. It was a normal afternoon. It was sunny skies, a beautiful day around northeast Kansas.
About news time, if I recall.
It was just before the 5 o'clock news. Jeremy Goodwin and I were getting ready in the studio. We were kind of putting on microphones, doing mic checks. And I remember Jeremy was kind of looking over his computers. He looked at the tower camera shot, and he turned around and said, "Melissa, there is some thick smoke coming from up the hill." And so where was that thick smoke exactly coming from? What exactly did it mean? Well, we soon found out. It was our former WIBW studios.
And the part that's on fire right there was the school portion of the building. Later, after we had moved in, the western part of the building, which looks slightly different. That what you're seeing, there is the old school where the auditorium was. And the part to the west was built.
And those
at a
were the
later
front
time.
doors.
Yeah,
those were the front doors that you would go in, right, where you see that kind of stream of water above it, and of course the firefighter over there. We were on the back side from that. So if you go here, but to the back side of where that firefighter was, that is where the newsroom was located.
Gymnasium I'm told by Elmer Gunderson, our former late great engineer, that it had been.
Our newsroom was a gymnasium?
Yeah, they added a floor between the first to make a second floor because there were offices above it. But when we moved in, needed that work done.
And so this is early on in the fire. So Jeremy spotted the thick smoke coming from the tower cam, and then photographers drove up the hill to see what it was, and lo and behold, it was our former building. We were going on the air, and I think by that first news block, of course, because it's just up the hill, we knew, well, oh my gosh, that's
lightning rod.
An old lightning rod melting away over there. That flat portion that you see on the left-hand side of your screen, that would have been kind of where the studio was. So the front air, that front part that we're looking at right now would have been the master control, and then on the other side of the hallway, if you will, if you were inside, there'd be a hallway there. That was where the studio was. Above the main door, I believe that window was the general manager's office, if I'm not mistaken, and then more offices around in there for business office staff. But so by the time we got into that first block, we knew that this was our former building that was burning. Oh yes, he's since retired from the fire department, and we knew that it was big. I mean, look at how quickly. Who knows how long it was burning? I do remember the investigators saying they really don't know how long it might have been burning before it was discovered. Because you can just see, you know, the building itself is brick, but all of that wood and everything else that was inside of there was burning. And so we were bringing you these updates as we were live on the air. We were having these memories come flooding back of everything that unfolded in that building. I think that was kind of where there was a conference room up in that corner of the building. The lunchroom was up in that corner of the building.
It had been George Logan's office, and then it became a conference room when George retired.
Yeah, so of course then we were up there, Ralph Hipp I think was up there live doing reports all night long because it was an extraordinary thing to watch unfold live.
You know, attracted people, but just the history. Cars were driving, and as you knew, the road at that time was not made for a lot of traffic, and people were trying to drive up there, and there were multiple fire engines, and so yeah, it was a real mess traffic-wise.
The building itself had been vacant since we moved out, and we always would kind of laugh because it's kind of like, yeah, we moved out, and a couple weeks later, the raccoons had moved in.
They didn't take them that long.
There was a pear tree over in the parking lot. Let's take a look at the day after, because by the next day, this is what remained, just the shell, of course, brick. So the brick was still standing, but just nothing else inside.
Look at that school and auditorium. That was above the front
label.
door.
That is so cool. There was a pear tree over in what was one of our parking areas.
That's where our satellite or our radar set on top of that tower.
Yeah. And then a couple weeks after we'd moved out, I was just going to say that there's like 20 deer were up around that pear tree because they were enjoying themselves. But it was interesting to see as we posted some of our photos. There's SBA for the Security Benefit Administration. Yes, security benefit. That's where it originally was housed way back in the day before Menninger moved into the campus and took over the campus and built some of their own new buildings as well. There's the clock tower building that we were talking about. Again, this video is from 2012. And, you know, we were sharing a lot of memories the other day when this was posted, and a lot of folks saying how they went and collected a brick from the rubble because not long after that, they then moved and demolished the building. And so there it is as it came tumbling down, the last remnants that remained.
Right there, there's a railing right there. That was an entrance we never used on the east side, but that's where the Pepsi machine and the coffee.
The coffee machine that had paper cups with poker hands on them, like a card. People would, Eric Ives, you remember, because I think you were one who played poker.
How many games did you lose?
Coffee poker with the old vending machine.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, he loved it, he said. I don't think it was very good coffee, was it? But the beans were there, and you would play poker by getting your cup of coffee in the morning. But,
like I said, that building was cool. I didn't realize there was a third floor. I'd worked there probably 3 or 4 years before they told me to run up to the third floor and get something, and I assumed it was a joke, but no, there was this little odd staircase that took you up to a third floor, and that's, you know, most of it was unfinished, so a bunch of bare rafters, but I could see how it burnt so quickly up there because it was all wood underneath that really cool, terracotta sort of roof that it had.
So we share this with you today because it is this week in history, albeit more recent history, 14 years ago, but those of us who've been around for a while, we think of it often. We think very fondly of that old building, and we remember starting our careers there. We remember learning the ropes there. Whatever happened with the investigation? Well, I believe the latest that they said was it was such an intense fire that they maybe perhaps would never know for sure. I believe they did feel that it was suspicious in nature
been some people
because
spotted up there right before.
yes, because the building itself had no power, nobody was occupying it, but again, because the damage, as you see, was so extensive and the heat was so intense, the cause, I believe, officially is listed as undetermined in that fire. No one was ever arrested or anything like that for it. And the building itself now is gone. And I believe that area of campus is vacant. Like I said, I for a while had thought that it was where FHL was now. However, I believe we've determined that actually FHL is kind of in front of, if you will, a little closer to 6th Street and Wanamaker than where our building was kind of behind that.
There was I think it probably had originally been a dorm, but there was, Menninger had offices in a great big brick. They tore down a lot of those buildings when the Menninger Foundation left. And I think the bank now is about where that building used
kind
to
of in
sit,
between,
so,
yeah,
exactly.
the others. So those are our memories. And what was your favorite memory from that building, Doug?
Wizzo. It's going to be Wizzo. Everybody.
Wow.
What? Was that
It's
the
where
other-
we met.
Oh, yeah,
guys.
that too. That too.
My
yeah.
first day of work for WIBW, and Doug and I met in that old building.
That's true.
But was that still your favorite
Well,
memory?
that's what I get the most questions about, and the most requests are for Wizzo, because on Saturday when they would record, Wizzo ran that building. You know, management was gone, most of the workers were gone. We had some old video. Wizzo was up and down the hall taking kids on tours, and it was his building on Saturdays.
A lot of history and a lot of people have been through that building. So we just wanted to take some time today on our trip into the WIBW Video Vault to share that with you. Another big event also happened in this week in history just a year ago, also on January 5th. You know what we're talking about. A year ago this week, it wasn't rain and 50s that we were talking about. It was snow and frigid cold. So even though it was only a year ago and we didn't
big
have
enough to remember.
Exactly. We didn't have to dive that deep into the vault to find it for you. Stick around. We're going to share some of our favorite reports from that January blizzard of 2025 when the Video Vault, proudly sponsored by Ace Plumbing, Heating and Air and Appliance, returns in 1 minute. Welcome back into this edition of the WIBW Video Vault, proudly presented by Ace Plumbing, Heating and Cooling and Appliance. Glad to have you along with us. Melissa Bruner alongside Doug Brown. We just were reliving a significant day from January 5th of 2012 when our former WIBW studios up on Menninger Hill burned. January 5th, 2025, just 1 year ago, is another significant day in history. So we didn't have to do too deep of a dive to bring this one to you. However, it is somewhat fun to remember because fun,
Yeah.
infamous, maybe
that word
infamous,
loosely.
famous for not such good reasons, is why, because, yeah, it was cold. It was snowy. People were snowed in. People had to use their it was a insane day. I mean, it really was, because, you know, obviously you couldn't get out of your house. Think about our crews and what we were trying to do to bring you the information, to bring you the storm. And so really some of it was a little bit of planning ahead. Some of it was a little bit of luck, and some of it was just a lot of ingenuity by folks who had computers and internet connections at home.
Yes, I remember the boss drugged me out at 10 o'clock the night before.
Who would that be?
First night. And then 5 in the morning, the next morning, the boss drugged me out to do some live shots. I I don't remember who that was. But
The boss also was on her phone and computer all day long trying to keep up with closings where you're like, what's that? I'm like, just another thing. It's okay. It's okay. Isaac Deere was our digital content manager.
There was no sledding for us that day.
Yeah,
It was a
we did
work
not
day.
sled. It was very, very, very cold. Jeremy was streaming almost continuously the whole. But before we get to 2025, that goes down as the third largest single-day snowfall in Topeka history at 14.1 inches. Number one was 1900. We do not have video of that one. But since this is the video vault, we thought that we would share with you a little bit of a report from the number two, the second snowiest day, single-day snowfall in Topeka history. 15.2 inches of snow fell January 9th, 1993. Take a look.
Last week, ice made driving a nightmare. Last night, the bad dreams continued. Just when you thought you saw winter's worst, Old Man Winter strikes back.
We're not having as much trouble getting around as we did last week. We have put snow chains on most of the patrol cars at this time so that we can get around a little bit better on the side streets. As far as the icy roadways, you've got a lot better chance of controlling a vehicle on the snow than you have on just sheet ice. So obviously it's better for us.
Road crews went to work at 3 a.m. this morning trying to clear the streets of Topeka. Officials say it's estimated to take up to 36 hours under these type of conditions. The problem here is once you finish the work, if the snow continues to fall, it's back to square one.
We're not through with all the streets yet. And when we get through with the initial plowing, we're going to have to start over and do everything again. So we think it's going to be a few days before we get everything cleaned up.
The emergency snow ordinance was activated at 8 this morning, requiring all vehicles to remain off the designated snow routes. If you get stuck on one of those emergency paths, snow tires or chains are required to avoid a ticket.
This evening, I think I'd stay in. The traffic volume's been pretty light so far today, and we haven't had a large amount of accidents. And if the traffic volume stays down, the accident rate will remain slow, and it'll give the city street crews a chance to get out there and get things cleared up a little bit better.
Amy Leeds, 13 News, Nightside.
That was the snow from 1993. 15.2 inches of snow also happened in those first couple weeks of January. And of course, you remember Amy Leeds. Maybe not that she got her start here at WIBW, but this is where she got her start.
1992, she was our intern, became a reporter for us after that, and went on to many, many other things.
She still does some work with our great television station up in Lincoln, Nebraska.
And John Sidwell with the
Yes.
department. We aired a little bit of this last year, if
We
I
did.
recall.
We did.
And John told me his phone blew up. So hey, if you're watching,
Let
send
John know
a
you
text.
saw him.
We pulled him out again.
Okay, now let's go to 2025, 1 year ago. If you all recall what was happening, they predicted this. They were predicting that this would move in. To the extent we were all kind of like, okay, fine, whatever, Jeremy, you're just trying to be excitable, right? No, he was dead spot on with this one. It came in starting as kind of some freezing rain. And I remember we had gone out to your dad's farm in Jefferson County, and we did everything early, got extra food out, all that kind of stuff because of everything that was in the forecast. And then it was probably around noon, 1 o'clock-ish, we headed home, and you almost immediately could start hearing the sleet coming and starting that was falling. And so we were all snuggled inside and ready to go. And then as it kept getting worse, closings and cancellations started. Jeremy hopped on and he started doing live streaming. And so we were all communicating with each other, getting all of that under control. We had said to ourselves on Friday, we're like, okay, Doug, you're going to take gear home just in case. I said that. Doug, you're going to take gear home because if this really does come to be what is in the forecast, we could at least just
be historic.
Yes, and we figured we can just step outside. Just step outside our door, and right there, you know, we're not far from a main street, so we would be able to do, we'd be able to contribute some good content. So, and a picture of what was going on. So that's what we did. And then Sunday rolled around, and it just kept snowing and snowing. Madison Bickley was our morning anchor, and I remember her saying, okay, I'm gonna just go out to the street and get a little bit of the snow starting video in between our 2 morning newscasts. So she did that. I believe her husband came and drove her home then, and then Claire made it in from where she was, and from there, pretty much everybody else was stuck at home. I remember David Oliver called from Central Topeka, and he said, I can get in there. I can make it in. I'm in town. I'll drive in and I'll help.
It's a cool looking little car.
Yeah, he's got a nice little car, but it made it like
snow car.
Not even out the driveway. And he apologized. I don't know what to do. What's going on? So Claire, if you all remember, that is when Claire Decatur made her anchoring debut. I said, Claire, how do you feel about anchoring tonight? And she was like, okay, I guess, or something along those lines. And so that's what we did that evening. We walked it through, and then bringing that gear home was very fortuitous because that is what we did. And I was saying, let's just step out to the street in front of our house, Doug. Doug says, I think if I get the shovel out and I can make 2 paths to get our car out the driveway, and then we can make it down to Highway 24.
I think I said, get in the car and let's go.
And we did. But before we left, I did say what?
Leave the shovel
Put the shovel in the car, just in case we need it. We
did.
didn't need it. We almost did, because you pulled into a parking lot, and we got kind of into that parking lot. And then you thought, let me drive a little bit closer to the highway so we don't have to walk through the snowdrifts. That didn't happen. We didn't need the shovel, but we also didn't get across the parking lot. We walked across the parking lot. And so without further ado, if you would like to see a very frigid Melissa and Doug's behind the camera. This was our report from that Sunday night when I don't even want to know how cold it was. And the snow was still falling. And we were out there along Highway 24 in North Topeka. Here you go. The Kansas Department of Transportation has 30 trucks out 24 hours just in the Region 4 area. That includes Topeka, Emporia, Osage City, that area, Lawrence as well. And that drift of snow coming off Highway 24 shows what they're up against. Even though all the highways are closed, you won't physically see barricades at every highway access point. The alert to close the roads, you might have gotten it on your phone here Sunday night, is to simply let you know that this is a dangerous situation. Dave Studebaker is the Topeka area superintendent for KDOT. He says this is the worst he has seen in his 22 years with the agency, just by the wide area affected and the amount of snow that's fallen. A big challenge for the crews as they try to get out there on the roads is the wind. Dave Studebaker called it the gift that keeps on giving. He said they're pushing snow that's blown in from miles away, and then it blows again right back behind them. Both he and Shawnee County Emergency Management Director Dusty Nichols said the other big obstacle are these cold temperatures that we're going to have for the next several days. That means Mother Nature isn't helping things a whole lot. Dave Studebaker says those trucks need to get the snow out of the way, but there is ice below it, and the ice, they can take care of that as well, as long as they can get that melting treatment on. So the best thing you can do to help those efforts is to stay out of their way.
If you have a blockage of, trucks, vehicles stranded literally in the middle of the road, we have to work around them. And in some case we can't. And then it ends up, we don't have a turnaround point and we're stuck just the same as they are, even though we're not stuck. So getting people to realize that it's just unsafe right now, and given a little bit of time with less public interaction is going to let us have the opportunity to do what we do without those hindrances in our way.
Please continue to listen local, watch local, pay attention to what's going on, check on your neighbors, take care of each other, and just be ready for the worst case scenario, and hopefully that does not happen. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Dusty Nichols said emergency management will be watching for any infrastructure needs right now. That includes things like if people are stuck here in town because of the closed highways, do they have enough parking spots for them? Are there enough hotel rooms? If they need assistance, the disaster declarations means they will be able to ask for it. Right now, they have not had to do so. And again, Studebaker says those KDOT trucks will be out around the clock. He hopes that by mid-morning Monday, they'll have those roads passable. And by midday Monday, you'll start to see some significant improvements. But he does caution, again, there is ice under that snow, so you will need to slow down and be cautious. Reporting in North Topeka tonight, Melissa Bruner, 13 News. I'm much warmer today, Mr. Ives. Don't adjust your screens here because Eric Ives is joining us now. I wasn't that cold that night, but I will tell you, the next morning, Monday morning, when we went back out because you were out and you had a little issue.
Did you have to have me remind this? I was trying to forget.
That's why
that
you're
day.
here, Eric.
Oh, that's why. I was like, you had a gift for me. Oh, no.
You thought
no.
Doug had to go to the bathroom and got hungry, needed a snack. That's why you're here. No.
It was not good. Do you want me to remind people what
Well, you can
might
just
have
take a
happened?
little bit about what happened. Eric, you like to contribute. You're a team player, and when big news happens, you like to be there because you think it's kind of fun. And so you always say, if it's going to snow, you're like, I'll go out and do the live shots in the morning.
I usually take some reporter with me in the morning, and that was going to be the same because we knew it was going to be a bad one. And so it was no different from any other morning like that. But it kind of ended a little different.
Oh, we
Yeah.
know it did. And you know what? We're going to remind everyone.
Oh, my.
We have the video proof. Eric Ives, on-air video journalist 1 year ago in
The vast
January.
majority of streets remain impassable in the capital city. We're bringing you the latest road conditions. Right now, we want to go out live to photojournalist Eric Ives, who suffered a setback of his own on his way into work this morning. So what happened, Eric?
Oh, Jared, I'm kind of busy right now, buddy, but hey, Rick, why don't you take over for me? Guys, this is what it's all about. You know, don't get out on the roads. You'll get stuck. Why am I going to get stuck? Hey, let me run the camera. Can I get behind there? This is just off of 37th Street near Gage. We are just east of Gage, and the issue is the city streets. If you can get to them, guys, you're going to do pretty okay. But the problem is, my friends, is getting onto the plowed streets. You can see the windrows that they make. Unfortunately, I found out what it's like. And we're high-centered is what Rick says. But the main thing is, guys, yesterday, I'm going to make sure my camera's okay, guys. This is how you do things here at Channel 13. Hey, yesterday, the city said they would be hitting these streets, the side streets, the neighborhood streets, but the problem is the people parked on there is going to cause them issues. If you were able to get those cars off the side, parked on the road, that would help them getting through. And the one thing that, please don't whine about it, when they go down, you know how the blades are angled? Well, guess what? That snow's got to go one side, and so unfortunately, a lot of cars parked there and driveways may end up getting a little deep on that side, so you'll have to do a little digging out. But hey, at least we'll have that track down here, and we won't have this issue. All right, Rick, hush, get back to work. Guys, Jared, I'll send it back to you. Hopefully at 6 o'clock, we can go live somewhere else and not still be stuck here, all right? Wish us luck.
Oh, good luck, guys.
All right, how's it looking there, Rick? Looking
Eric
good?
and Rick may soon be hired out to the city. It looks like at least 37th and Gage,
That was
maybe.
funny. And then we saw a car drive by in there. So the rest of the story is what? There was a car that we kind of saw, or a pickup, and it was pulling a trailer.
Yeah,
Had
it was
flashing lights on.
I wish I could remember the landscape group business here in town. I can't remember them, but they did come back, and then all their guys got a bunch of shovels out, and we were able to get out.
You're
'Cause
heroes.
If it was just Rick, I don't know. I still might be stuck to this day if it was just Rick. No, Rick did a good job, and it was your idea. Rick doesn't live too far from me, and you said, get a hold of Rick, and he probably has a shovel. Rick couldn't drive to me, so here Rick comes walking down the street.
Dressed like the abominable.
Yeah. And so we eventually got out.
I mean, we can look back and laugh at it now, and you did have a pretty good sense of humor there also, but in the moment, I'm sure it wasn't quite so, because I was telling you, then like that happened, and then something went wacko with the audio, and so like Doug and I had gone down, we're like, okay, we'll slide our way back down the street and go out again. That morning, I was a lot colder than I was the night before. I don't know why. I don't know if it was adrenaline the night before or what, but that morning it got frigid, and that was the other problem with digging out from the snow that not only we all had and you all had, but the city crews all had, was everything just kind of froze solid. So that snowbank there, after they went through and plowed, all of a sudden it got even colder, and it just like froze into a rock.
Well, the video I had of showing 37th Street, I showed the other side. It was an hour or two later, there were 3 cars stuck in that, and we were able to get video of that, unfortunately for them. But yeah, that was right across the street at 37th, so yeah.
Yes, and then we had reporters stuck at home, so they were using their cell phones to file their video reports. Really, I mean, really, you've got to be, I personally was very proud of our team that day because, you know, if you can't get out in the snow, you can't get out in the snow. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's how it happens. But, you know, Madison lived in Wamego, and she's like, I got my phone, and I have this editing app, and she's Southern. Should I talk with her Southern accent?
Yeah,
I got this editing app. I can try it.
She does.
She does. Well, she's from South Carolina, first of all, so never seeing a snow like that ever either. She was just like, is it always like this?
She was brave going out there.
She was, but she did. She like sent. I got it. I think I got it. So she and her neighbors, she's like, the neighbor kids are out playing. I'll go get video of them with my phone. And so she filed that in with her phone. People were, you know, again, like we said, the internet age had computers and internet connections at home, so they were able to do that. You guys were all out there. I mean, eventually it got fun and people were out sledding on the hill, but
Eventually.
it wasn't even too cold for that.
A week later, we could still sled, probably.
Yep. So drop some of you have been already as we've been sharing memories this week. Drop your memories as we post this. And of course, we have 2026. It's a brand new year of Video Vault opportunities. Yes?
Yeah, I was looking out the window, looking at all the...
It's not snow yet?
No, just think how much snow we would have if it would have been cold today with all this rain that's coming down. Don't think about it.
We hope Jeremy doesn't have anything like that in the forecast the rest of the week. It is 2026, a brand new year for Video Vault. As the year goes on, we want to be able to actually, big announcement, expand Video Vault to more than one day a week. So please keep coming what you want to see because Doug's got a lot that he has been looking through. Until next time, folks, stay safe out there. Hopefully.
Well, we're taking auditions right now. Eric.
Vote Doug or Eric. And we'll see you back here next week in the Video Vault presented by Ace Plumbing, Heating and Air and Appliance. Have a good week, everyone. Stay safe.